If you want to play fast, your playing's gotta be efficient. That's a pretty broad topic, so let me break it down into some more specific things to practice, starting with hand placement. Every time I put my hand on the piano, I've got to decide where it's going to go. Is it up here, out here, or somewhere in between? In general, I do want to play towards the front of the keys for better leverage, but things get a little bit more complicated when black keys are involved, especially if it's my thumb or pinky that's on the black key. Notice how in this hand position, my thumb and pinky are both towards the fronts of their keys, but my other three fingers are actually pretty far back. This keeps my entire hand in a relaxed and comfortable position and gives me easy access to all 5 keys, allowing me to play them as quickly as I'd like. If I'm in a hand position that mixes black keys and white keys, I still want to choose a relaxed and comfortable position, but one that gives me easy access to both the black keys and the white keys within that position. If I'm playing the first 5 notes of an F major scale, I know I'm going to need this B flat, so I just go ahead and set up with my 4th finger already on the B flat. That might mean that my other fingers slide a little bit farther forward as well, but it avoids having to move when I get to the B flat. Compare that with something like this, where I'm at the front of the keys, but when I get to the A, then I have to slide forward to get to the B flat. Instead, I'd prefer to choose a hand position where I just already have access to that note, and when I get there, I don't have to move at all to play that key. Something else I'm thinking about to make this movement more efficient is keeping my fingers resting on the surface of the keys. Notice in the starting position, everything is just resting on the surface of the keys. And as I play each note, the rest of my fingers stay right where they were. So if you notice that you're playing like this, training your hand just to relax and stay resting on the surface of the keys is something you can do to make your playing much more efficient. As I release the thumb, again, I'm not releasing like that, I'm just returning to the surface of the key. As I go on, surface of the key, right at the surface of the key. This keeps me grounded in this hand position and allows me to quickly repeat each note because my finger doesn't have to travel as far to press it back down. One other thing that I'm thinking about to make this more efficient is using my arm, not just my fingers, to produce the sound. So I don't want to play with a plucking movement like that from the fingers, but rather the main role of the fingers is to support, in other words, not collapse at these joints. So I don't want to collapse like that, but rather just support. Notice how little my finger actually has to move to play that note. That's because the movement is really more something like this. I'm using my entire arm to make that movement. If I'm playing a scale, I can roll or rotate my arm like this to roll to the next note. The fingers themselves don't actually have to do very much of the work that way. There's certainly more that could be said about efficiency, but for now I want to move on to the next topic, which is control. I see a lot of people sacrificing control for just a bit more speed. But if anything, it should probably be the other way around. Temporarily sacrifice a bit of speed for more control. Because ultimately, the more in control you are, the faster you'll be able to play, and the better your fast playing is going to sound too. When I was a kid, if I was struggling to get a passage up to tempo, I liked to set the metronome at the fastest speed I could play without completely falling apart and then just repeat it a bunch of times in hopes that that would eventually allow me to go just a little bit faster. Kind of like lifting the heaviest weight I could in hopes it would make me stronger. But with this method, I would often hit a wall at a tempo that was still slower than I wanted to go. This is because I was just trying to muscle my way through everything, and in doing so, I was tensing up, playing inefficiently, and losing control. Now, when I'm trying to speed up a passage, I'm more likely to do the opposite. I'll go a bit slower and focus on making it as easy, relaxed, efficient, and musical as I can. If I can do something 10 times in a row at a slower speed without any mistakes, chances are I can still play it accurately when I go a bit faster. And if something feels easy, not just doable, at a slow speed, it's more likely to feel doable when I go faster. Sometimes I find that getting a piece really consistent at a slow speed is actually harder, or at least takes more time, than speeding it up once I've got it carefully learned.